Hello, great morning, great two pupils. You're welcome to class today. How are you doing? I'm fine. Thank you for asking, class. All right, you're welcome to your prevocational studies class. Today we will talk about crops. All right, we're just going to do a revision on our class about crops. We all know what crops are. We have two types of crops. We have the food crops, those crops that we eat, and we have the cash crops, those crops that are grown majorly to sell in the market. Cash crops, we have so many cash crops in Nigeria. We have granules, we have rice, we have rubber, yes, we have rubber, we have cassava, we have cocoa. All of these are cash crops, crops that are grown majorly to be sold, whether in our local markets or exported to other countries. All right, so we are going to classify crops based on their uses. Based on their what? Uses. We have number one, cereal crops. We're taught in class that cereal crops are majorly grains. They are majorly crops that produce grain, and they are grown for their grains. They are not grown for their leaves, they are only grown for their grains. All right, and we also know that cereal crops, they are rich in carbohydrate. We're taught that cereal crops are rich in carbohydrate, so they produce grain used for food by man and feed for animals. All right, so examples of cereals is rice. Yes, the grain of rice, we eat the grain of rice. Millet, wheat, sorghum. We're told that sorghum is that the one our parents call dawa. It's red pea. They used to make pap. All right. Hausa people also use it to make their special meals. We have Baileys and we have maize. Maize are corn, the one that we eat all the time. All right. So all of these cereal that are grains, they are rich in what? Carbohydrate. They are very rich in carbohydrate. And you know that carbohydrate is very good for our health. All right, let's go to number two, leguminous crops or pulse crop. We're taught in class that leguminous crops are rich in proteins. They are plants of the beans family. They are plants that produce pods like the beans. You have to open it up to see the seed inside of it. You have to open your granite up to see the grain inside of it, to see the seed inside of it. You have to open your green beans, your cowpea, a lot of them, kidney beans, a lot of them. All of these are the beans family, and they are very rich in protein. Like the soya bean, we have the groundnuts, we have the pigeon pea, we have the green pea, and cow pea. All right. This was what we were taught in class. So we're just having a little revision. All right, we're just having a little revision. All right, we have fruit crops. They are those crops that are rich in vitamin and mineral salt. Fruit crops, they are grown for the purpose of producing fruits for man and animal. We know that fruits are rich in vitamins and mineral. All right, examples of these fruit crops are oranges, are bananas, avocado, pear, grape, a lot of them, pineapple, apple, guava, a whole lot of them. All right, So the fruit crops are rich in minerals, salts, and vitamin, and they are grown majorly for them to produce fruits for us. All right. And next we have the roots and tuber crops. The roots and tuber crops do not grow on the surface, they grow below the earth, beneath the earth. They are grown for their roots and for their tubers. They are rich in carbohydrates. They grow inside the soil. They grow where? On top of the soil? No, they grow inside the soil. So examples of these roots and tuber crops are cassava, yam, cocoyam, Irish potatoes, sweet potatoes, and the rest of them. There are lots of roots and tuber crops. Remember, they are rich in carbohydrates. They are rich in what? Carbohydrates. All right. We have the vegetable crops. They are mostly annual crops. We were taught that annual crops are crops that grow, germinate, and dies off in a year. They produce all they have to produce, their leaf, their fruits, everything, and die off within the space of 12 months. Within the space of 12 months. That means they complete their season in a space of 12 months. They are annual crops, yearly crops. We also have biannual crops. We were taught in class that bi means two. So biannual crops are crops that complete their season in 2 years, within 2 years. It might be 13 months, it might be 14 months, it might be 19 months, 20 months, but it must not exceed 24 months, which is 2 years. All right. So vegetables are mostly annual crops that we eat as food. They are also rich in vitamins and mineral. They may be leafy or fruit vegetables. We have tomatoes, okra, water leaf, spinach, pumpkin, and amaryllis. I told us about amaryllis in class. Yes, amaryllis is our green leaf. All right. So vegetables are rich in mineral salts and vitamins. Yes, they are very rich in mineral salts and vitamins. They are the ones that make our skin so smooth and silky. They make us healthy and strong. They also help our eyes to see clearly, like our carrots. I didn't include carrots in the example, but carrot is a vegetable crops. All right, is a root crop and a vegetable crop. Remember, I said that root crops grow beneath the earth and carrot grows beneath the earth, but it is also a vegetable crop because it contains vitamins for our eye. All right, yes, there are some crops that are roots, like example are carrot, that are roots and tuber crops, and also vegetable crops. All right, so let us move on to the next classification of crops. We have the spices crops. They are crops that give flavor to our food. Yes, beautiful crops that make our food taste, smell delicious. All right, like our onions, our ginger, our garlic, our pepper, our thyme. What else? Our thyme. We have um we have a lot of them. Onions, ginger, garlic, pepper, thyme, and the rest of them are rosemary. All right, all these are spices crops. They are crops that give our food beautiful, delicious flavoring. All right, we have our beverage crops. There are crops that are used to make our beverages. Crops that are used to make our beverages. They are grown. They are grown for the purpose of producing food, drinks as their end product, such as tea. So many types of tea: lemon tea, cocoa, we have coffee. All right, these crops are grown majorly to give us food, drinks as an end product. They are used to make beverages. All right, so next we have latex crops. There are those crops that secrete latex used by rubber industry. I told us that the process of collecting rubber from a tree is tapping. All right, so the crops that secrete latex, that is the raw rubber that rubber industries use to produce rubber materials like plastic containers, tires, soles of shoes. They are called what? Latex crop, just like our rubber tree. Beautiful. And lastly, or it's not last, we still have another one. Second to the last, we have drug or medicinal crops. They are crops that are cultivated for their medicinal values. Our values should not have values. All right. At times, they are used as drugs. They are cultivated, they are grown for their medicinal values. At times, they are used as drugs. All right, we have bitter leaf. Yes, in the olden days, when someone is sick, hot temperature, running stomach, they just go to the bush, get these medicinal crops, bitter leaf or um basil leaf. Basil leaf is our scent leaf. The Igbo people call it nchuanwu. Yoruba people call it efinrin. Nchuanwu is very good for our stomach. All right. Our parents will just get it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, extract the juice and give it to the sick person. And in no time, the person gets better. Or when someone injures themselves, they'll get the bitter leaf, squeeze it so much, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, and then extract the juice and rub it on the sick, on the injured parts, and the person feels better. All right, so these drug crops are very good. Ginger and garlic, they are also good for some medicinal purposes. And lastly, we have the oil crops. There are crops that can produce oil when processed. Crops that can produce oil when processed. Examples of these oil crops are oil palm. Yes, when you process oil palm, that is when you get our red oil we use to make delicious meal. All right, oil palm. We have groundnuts. Yes, groundnuts. When they process groundnuts, they extract it and they give us groundnut oil. We also have palm kernel. Palm kernel from oil palm also gives us pure oil. All right, melon, egusi. Yes, it contains oil. Coconut, we have coconut, we have soybean, and we have cotton. All of these plants produces oil when processed. All right, we've come to the end of this class, of this revision class. Okay, remember we talked about crops, two types of crops, the food crops and the cash crop, and we mentioned a whole lot, I think 9 of them: oil crops, drug crops, latex crops, beverage crops, spices crops, vegetable crops, roots and tubers crops, fruit crops, leguminous or pulse crops, and cereal crops. Okay, hope you've learned and you try to remember what you have been taught. All right. In case you have any question, please drop your questions in the comment section and I will answer them. And also class, do well to read and prepare for your forthcoming exam. Remember, your teacher is not going to give you ask you question based on what you have not been taught. The questions will definitely come from what you have been taught. So do well, go through your books. If you have any question on any topic at all, please ask your questions and your teachers, if not me, anybody, the math teacher, the computer teacher, the Igbo teacher, and your class teacher, Miss Dorcas, would answer all your questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It is when you ask questions that you understand better. All right. Have a nice time, guys. Bye.